COVID-19 restrictions lifted, including domestic travel. Submission to NEC for environmental study on Porgera. And Governor Ipatas plans for a university in Enga.
This is National EMTV News with Jeremy Mogi.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Monday's news. All domestic travel restrictions put in place due to the outbreak of coronavirus have been uplifted by the National Command Center. This means airlines can now resume flights into airports that were previously closed due to precautionary measures against COVID-19. Meanwhile, for international bound travel from Australia, New Zealand and most of the Pacific Islands, inbound passengers now only have to home isolate for 7 days. Passengers arriving from other international locations will need to quarantine at a hotel for 14 days.
The uplifting of domestic travel restrictions is part of the 9 new orders announced by Pandemic Controller David Manning. The other orders include no roadblocks to be established by any person, including authorized offices, except for those directed by the controller. A person who refuses to be tested for COVID-19 cannot be charged for committing a criminal offense, and each province may, at its own discretion, require persons arriving in the province to be tested for COVID-19. These orders came into effect on the 3rd of October. The relaxing of COVID-19 restrictions comes 7 months after Papua New Guinea reported its first imported COVID-19 case. Since March, PNG has confirmed 540 positive cases of coronavirus in 12 provinces, including the autonomous region of Bougainville. To date, 7 have died, while a larger percentage have recovered. Meanwhile, a statement released by Air New Guinea today announces that it will be offering a range of sales to promote domestic tourism. However, for international flights, there will still be quarantine requirements for passengers flying in from Australia, New Zealand and other Pacific countries. Thaklagunga, National EMTV News.
A submission will be made to the National Executive Council to grant access for an environmental study of the Porgera mine. Environment Minister Wera Mori says the study is critical for the mine's continuation. Mori says the study is to identify environmental impacts to the communities in the mine area.
The Environment Minister announced that permission will be sought from the National Executive Council to grant access and allow a team of officers to assess the impacts of the mine. Minister Mori says the study will identify if environmental impacts thus exist. He says this is critical for Porgera mine.
As a consequence of direct disposals of mine waste and tailings into the river system, it posed major social economic impact on the people of Porgera and the Porgera Valley.
While the state has granted the mining lease to the Kumul Minerals Consolidated Holdings, proper process will be followed for the study in the mine area. While the move by the state is not welcomed by all, the environment study will identify the source of pollution. Minister Mori says the assessment will provide guidance to state agencies to deal with environment matters while the mine is still closed.
This is important because we need our social scientists, mainly anthropologists and sociologists, to basically come, be engaged and identify what are the impacts, direct impacts that the environmental damages have on the people of Porgera.
A similar study will be carried out in Oktedi Mine in Western and Ramu Nickel Project in Medang. This follows numerous complaints of environment pollution by the extractive industry.
And this is important because for any mine, and in this case, for Porgera to move forward, we have got to establish these underlying issues. and have them addressed.
Jaglo Pava Jr. National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, an environment activist says any mining or extractive activity does have an impact on the surrounding environment. Wenceslaus Magun told EMTV the comparison between long-term development and immediate benefit must not be juggled by resource owners. He says the extractive industry has had severe impacts and people must consider the conservation of the environment. Mr. Magun encouraged eco-friendly options to develop resources and sustain the ecosystem.
Look at all the gold mining impact communities, copper mining impact communities, oil impact communities. As the mining activities transform their lives, as they lead a better life, zero. Bougainvilleans are fighting, Porgerans are fighting, Hellas are fighting. So there's no proof that mining will change your lifestyle. Conservation, biodiversity will change your lifestyle. It has done that.
A rural community in Simbu have taken steps to ensure their environment is protected and kept sustainable for future generations. This is under a program called the Mauberena Ecotourism Nature Conservation Education Research and Training Center, or MENCERT. The training center is located at the Dinema Primary School in the Sinesine Yangumul district. Minister for Environment and Conservation and Climate Change, Warren Mori, launched the training center recently. It is supported by the United States of America through its aid program, USAID Lookout Ground program, committed towards supporting PNG's efforts to protect its biodiversity. USAID official Karen Anawe said it's important to manage nature resources and support sustainable livelihoods in communities, which in turn protects biodiversity for future generations to come. The Enga Provincial Government recently introduced Enga Day on October the 2nd to mark 47 years of being a province of its own. Governor Sir Peter Ipatas told his people that they have a reason to celebrate the day annually because of Enga's contribution to the development of PNG through its human resource. Last Friday was the first Enga Day, which coincided with the annual cultural show.
The 47th year of Enga as a province after the government drew new boundaries separating Enga from the Western Highlands. During the Provincial Day celebration and the cultural show last Friday, Enga Governor recalled Enga being a least developed district of Western Highlands Province before 1973.
So think big, Enga. Of course, Olympian, you're educated. Please take responsibility. You can do it. If we can do it as a province in this isolated place, you can turn this province around. So
Sir Peter said he is proud to see the fruit of what he invested in 23 years ago. Sir Peter said Enga's description as way back and primitive are now history. Today, Enga is one of the leading provinces in PNG in terms of development in education, health and roads and infrastructure.
So let's take responsibility from the provincial level. And it's about time we also become a role model. We can be a role model province. Show the national government, national leaders, how to run governments, how to prioritize projects, how to prioritize programs, so we can get real traction, real development.
Provincial Administrator Dr. Samson Amian, the brain behind his governor's visions, is also a proud person, saying the provincial government has made the right decision to invest in education. Enga professionals are beginning to provide free advices and services to support development in the province.
What we see here now, the culture show, the other events that took place at the Teachers College. We've got a big project coming at the back of us now at the hospital. With the College of Nursing and a lot of other things have happened. This has all happened in the last 47 years.
Meanwhile, Australian High Commissioner to PNG John Philp was in Enga Province last week to open Australian-funded projects as well as the guest of honour at the cultural show and the Provincial Day celebration.
Papua New Guinea as a whole, particularly of Enga Province, which is at the same time the importance of the preservation and the continuation and the celebration of culture, which we see in the costumes and sing represented here today, not just from Enga but throughout Papua New Guinea. And also of the drive to development and advancement of the people of Papua New Guinea and Enga, particularly through education.
His Excellency said he will continue the important relationship with Enga Province and PNG where his predecessor has left. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Meanwhile, the opening of a 10 million kina 4-level Australian-funded learning infrastructure in Wabeg recently has demonstrated a greater need to have a university in Enga Province in the near future. Governor Ipatas intends to take a bill to Parliament next year to have a university in Enga. He also called on the national government to support the vision for the betterment of Enga as well as the country.
The Australian High Commissioner to PNG, John Philp, officially cut the ribbon during the opening of the 4-level classroom at the University of Goroka Enga campus. It houses 16 classrooms, all lecture rooms, a library, computer lab, storage facilities, and facilities that are inclusive of persons with special needs.
The PNG and Australia share in facing the challenges today and the new challenges that will come down the track with us tomorrow. I commend you all for your vision and your commitment to education, and I really recommit Australia to this long-term partnership in education in the province.
Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas stressed that the partnership his government has with donor agencies and national institutions like UOG and PAU are special for nation building. However, Ipatas said a lot of the provincial government setbacks are attributed to the national government not seeing the vision and potential his government has.
I want to call on our Prime Minister and those in authority at the national level to realize that we have to do better. In Enga, we think we have done our best. We are trying to demonstrate to the country, if we are given more resources, if we are empowered to do more, we will be able to do more in the context of these provincial aspirations, but these provincial aspirations connect to the big national picture.
UOG recently partnered with the Enga Provincial Government to offer bachelors in education, especially to train science, math and English teachers. But this will be for a short while until Enga is ready to have its own university.
Officials from University of Goroka, when you came here, this is not merely an extension of the University of Goroka. We have our own vision. You have come to a challenging place. Please accept our challenge and deliver quality education.
Sir Peter said the extension of the learning facilities is to fulfill its vision to provide quality education at a tertiary level. Provincial Administrator Dr. Samson Amian assured their partners that the new learning infrastructure will soon be filled with STEM materials for quality education.
If things are not around, if the tools are not there, if the resources are not there, definitely will be short-lived.
Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Still to come, teachers celebrate World Teachers' Day and medical students give back to their profession. Those stories and more when we come back. Welcome back. Arab Primary School head teacher Herman Agragum says it's been a challenging year for teachers at Arab and Gabmajung in Morobe amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite this, teachers continue to carry out their duties. Today, the teachers at Arab and Gabmajung reflected on their challenges as they gathered to celebrate World Teachers' Day. Among them was retired teacher Kunera Monolua, who said teaching is not just a job, but a passion to educate future generations.
These are teachers from schools in the Arab Gabmajung cluster in Morobe's Huon Gulf district. They teach in the 5 primary schools and 9 elementary schools in the area. Today they gathered at the Wampara LLG Council chamber to celebrate Teachers' Day. With this year's theme being Teachers Leading in Crisis, Reimagining the Future, Arab Primary School head teacher Herman Agrigum said this year was challenging for teachers with the COVID-19 outbreak. Despite this, teachers continued to work while trying to implement COVID-19 measures.
But teachers are still able to manage. Teachers are still able to work under a lot of pressure and a lot of hardships. Those will be regarded as crisis in our jobs as teachers. But
when asked about what it means to be a teacher, this is what one teacher had to say.
And I love being a teacher. And teachers are always humble and they are always patient. And they are always working to the best of their abilities.
Also present was 68-year-old Kunera Monalua, a retired teacher who taught in the province for 43 years. She proudly reflected on her days as a teacher, saying she was driven by the passion to educate the younger generations.
And I put my teaching career forward. Once I looked at the students in front of me, they are the ones that will bring not only me, but Papua New Guinea to the next level when I do my part as a teacher.
This is the first time teachers in the Arab Gabmazung cluster have come together to celebrate World Teachers Day. They are hoping that this day will be recognized by the LLG and district and that future celebrations will be bigger to appreciate the efforts of teachers in the LLG. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
Now, it's not often you hear stories of students giving back to the schools that made them who they are, but 7 postgraduate diploma students at UPNG's School of Medicine and Health Sciences are doing exactly that. They have initiated a fundraising drive to help them achieve their goal of purchasing a washing machine and plates and screws for the dental clinic. They plan to present these items as thank you gifts when they leave at the end of the year.
The 7 postgraduate diploma students have come from East New Britain, West New Britain, Manus, Enga, Isipik, Eastern Highlands and Port Moresby General Hospital. The postgraduate diploma program is the first step in each pursuing masters in specific dental specialties. For them, the program ends this year. Instead of just packing up and leaving for their respective provinces, they have made a personal commitment to thank the school.
There are 7 of us, doctors, doing postgraduate in diploma clinical dentistry. We started in February of this year. It's a 1-year program and we finish next month. During the course of the year, we saw a few things and we wanted to do something to help.
Dr. Solo clarifies that this doesn't mean that the school or hospital doesn't have any funds. This is a personal commitment and contribution for all 7. They started the fundraising selling coffee.
We started off with 4 sachets of 3-in-1 coffee, the coffee cups, and we started selling them for 1 kina each. By the end of the week, we expanded to biscuits and noodles, and within 2 weeks we had like 200 kina, and that was something, that was motivation.
They are now into their TED fundraising activity. They are selling raffle tickets for 5 kina. Prizes range from New Guinea tickets, jewelry from House of Gemini, shopping voucher from Tierdist, gas and stove from Puma Energy, a Samsung phone, and a 1,000 kina cash, among many others.
We're really, really grateful to everyone for their enormous support. Like, we cannot do this without the sponsors and without the people buying the tickets.
Their target is to raise 10,000 kina before the school closes. They already have raised 4,000 kina.
So having plates and screws for oral surgery makes it cheaper and affordable. Having a washer and a dryer. We have clean, sanitized, hygienic linen available for everyday patient use. How can they do this? We need to give them the equipment. We need to help them become better. So buy a ticket, help support this PMGH and UPNG dental clinics.
For those willing to help this group of doctors achieve their goal and help contribute to dental health, you can visit the group's Facebook page, Dentistry Grand Raffle Draw, or visit the dental clinic at the medical school. The draw for the raffle will be done on Friday at 1 p.m. Shamin Porgera, National EMTV News.
The Business Council of Papua New Guinea has presented its latest macroeconomic outlook, which outlines the risks faced by PNG's economy and what business needs to recover from the COVID-19 downturn. A major recommendation is the devaluation of the kina.
If you have a very expensive public service and you're not having enough money to finance it, a public service needs to become less expensive. That's effectively what these numbers are telling us. And we simply cannot continue doing the normal things that public service does on highly expensive investments and expenditure. This decline in internal revenue is a clear indication we've got major problems. And this is one of the main reasons why we're looking at or the government is looking at sourcing development partner financing to cover this massive gap that's presented itself in the internal revenue space.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed 5 points lower at $0.2940 in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying $0.2785 $0.3844 Australian, €0.2293 and 28.70 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee and copra closed higher, cocoa closed lower. Crude oil is trading lower, palm oil closed lower, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 329.04 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 84.10 points higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 83.90 points higher. When we return, a tribute to a pioneering woman in politics. Stay with us. Welcome back to Monday's news. The University of Papua New Guinea student body will now have a Student Representative Council, or SRC, come 2021. The university today officially opened the writs for the SRC presidential elections.
After 4 years of suspension of the university's SRC, 2021 will see the student body having an official voice representing them, something the university's Vice-Chancellor described as an important structure of every educational institution.
This university has not had a Student Representative Council for the last 4 years, since 2016 when it was suspended. It is very important that the students must have a voice in the running of the university.
The call for nomination began today and will close on the 13th of October 2020. Polling will begin on the 19th of October and ends on the 20th, followed by the counting on the 21st of October and return of writs on the 23rd of October.
We've been doing the SRC election for the last 3 or 4 times we've been with the university, so it's not new. We'll be here again this time.
Unlike the past SRC elections, the 2021 elections come with a twist.
Yeah, the representation will be along the professional groupings rather than provincial or tribal groupings, as has been the past. Thing is because the University of Papua New Guinea is a national university, and we would like to promote nationalism rather than provincialism or regionalism.
Yana Zoiri, National EMTV News.
They came from different backgrounds, did not know about each other until their interest in changing the status quo and the determination for change brought them together in the political arena. In 1977, Nahavroni was among 9 other women who took the bold step to stand for the national elections soon after Papua New Guinea gained independence. Matilda Pilacapio shares how the lady from Milne Bay met the lady from Manus.
Just for your history, for some of you don't know history.
Anyone who has come across Matilda Pilacapio knows she is a straight shooter. Outspoken as she is, Matilda in her own way mourns the death of a dear friend, Mrs. Nahavroni. They were the first females to enter politics.
In 1977, post-independence elections, and there were 9 of us. 3 got in and 6 lost, and I happened to be one of them. So I know this lady going back.
And become ministers.
In 1979, she was given the Ministry for Justice, and that's where she turned the tables when she put Sir Burikidu. He was not Sir then, but then she demanded, and she made a bold decision, that the locals sit on the bench because we are independent.
Among the many important national agendas she pushed for, Matilda shares this story of how Nahavroni called the SP brewery manager to her office to reduce the amount of alcohol being sold to locals.
In 1982, she took up the Ministry of Civil Aviation and Liquor Licensing. And a lot of people don't know what she did with the 12-pack and the 6-pack beer. You want to know? That's Nahavroni's baby. She was liquor licensing minister. I want to tell this country. She was bold. She called up her manager, Mr. Bruce Flynn, to go to her office down in Parliament. She made a decision. Papua New Guineans were drunk with 24 bottles. Cut it down to 12-pack and 6-pack.
When she passed, Matilda even fronted up at SP Brewery.
I went to the brewery the other day, I said, where's your general manager? I want to see. What do you want? I said, I want to see the records of 12-pack and 6-pack. Why? I said, well, the lady who do it just shut her eyes.
As a friend and former colleague, she is disappointed, though, that her friend never got an important recognition before her passing. She was never given the title Dame.
I'm very disappointed that she was not given the honor of being a dame. She should have been a dame. Why didn't they give it to her? MBA is nothing.
Matilda remembers her former colleague and friend fondly, expressing her deepest condolences to the people of Manus and Nahavroni's family.
And all the children, my deepest condolence to the kids, to the Manus people. This lady was very, very close to me. We had debates, we had fights, but we were always close.
The funeral service for this trailblazer Papua New Guinean woman will be held this Thursday at the Sioni Kami Memorial Church. Shamin Poreambab, National EMTV News.
Chuka Sports is next. Fidelis is here at the sports desk.
Thank you, Jeremy. We will review and preview the National Soccer League as we look forward to this weekend's grand final. Join me after the break.
Chuka Sports.
Good night and welcome to Chuka Sports. Lae City's win against Gulf Comara was undoubtedly the